For store 1692 Woodall, this is going to be a laundry room measure as well as some additional kitchen parts and pieces that I'll be going over at the end of this video. But let's go ahead and start off with the laundry room so you can see our measurements as well as some of the notes right here. These are going to be some of the measurements and some additional notes at the end. This is all for the laundry room area only. We'll go over just the kitchen area in just a second and what we're looking at. And just so that we do have a clear reading of all of these, this is going to be, I did write some of these notes to the side, so go ahead and hit pause at any time during this video so you can go ahead and read all the measurements and all the notes that I did have on there. Now, as we do go over the laundry room area, a couple of different things that I'll be pointing out as we do walk through everything. The first thing is going to be this flooring right over here is a LVT flooring, a luxury vinyl tile flooring. Because it is a floating floor, we do not want to have this floating floor underneath any of the cabinetry. So we do plan on putting a base cabinet over here. So please do remove this flooring from this area. We also do plan on putting some base cabinetry all along this line right here. So again, that flooring will also need to be removed. So that is going to be the first thing to go ahead and look at. The second thing is going to be this guy right over here, which is a supply vent for their HVAC system, their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Now this vent over here, because it will be behind the cabinets or underneath the cabinets, I should say, this vent will need to be turned into a toe kick vent. So an HVAC person or HVAC technician should go ahead and come in to go ahead and turn that into a toe kick vent prior to us installing the cabinetry. Now, as we are looking at this wall right here, we can see that we do have a data port, which is what we are looking at right here. Now that guy is to remain where it is. So a note for our installers is that we will need to modify the backs of the cabinets, not only for this particular data port right here. However, we will also need to modify the back of the cabinet for this one right here. A note for the homeowner is that you can go ahead and put these two together if you wanted to have your electrician kind of smush them together so that they are inside of one cabinet. The whole goal in adding these guys into the inside of the cabinets is so that all of these wires that you are seeing are hidden as well as the devices themselves. So with that being said, since you are having your electrician coming in, you may consider relocating them so that they are, for example, at the top of the bottom cabinets or the base cabinets, closer to the top area of them, almost 30 inches or 24 inches off the finished floor. That way you can have all of these items on that top shelf. You can also go ahead and plug in all these items inside of one cabinet instead of trying to span them across two or more cabinets, just like what you are doing right now. So again, although right now these guys are planned to remain in their same location, in their existing locations, a suggestion for the homeowner is to have your electrician combine them into one unit or two banks, basically. So they are side by side with each other inside of one cabinet in order to contain all the wires and all the electronics inside of that one cabinet instead of stretching it across two or more cabinets. Now, as we do go along the bottom of this wall, one thing to remind the designer about, or a design note, is that against each of these walls, we do want to make sure we maintain a 2-inch filler, especially against this wall over here, because we do have the casework to contend with, especially if we're looking at anything with doors or drawers on there. So again, a 2-inch filler will be required against every wall inside of this design. 2-inch filler on this side as well as this side, as well as if we have any cabinets, wall cabinets, we'll want a 2-inch filler on that side as well. Those fillers can be cut down on site to be that exact size or as needed. So with that being said, another note for the electrician is that along this wall, since we are going to have a new countertop here, we do want a couple of convenience outlets. So looking at the length of this wall, and I leave this up to you about the number of outlets. However, it is suggested, or it was desired, at least 3 outlets. 1 outlet, 2 outlet, 3 outlets along this wall should be a good amount. However, please do lean on the codes, the current NEC codes or national codes, the codes that are inside of this area, and go ahead and default to those as well as what the customer would like, so they can go ahead and decide on that as well. So as we're still on this wall, One thing that we will note is that we do have this electrical panel box right over here. So although the countertop will be below it, we did want to give you the height above the finished floor and as well as the height of this electrical panel so that we can go ahead and place a cabinet above the electrical panel. Now, a note for the homeowner is that sometimes especially with permits and codes, you may actually be required to have a clear open space in front of this electrical panel. Go ahead and double check that with your electrician to see if that does apply to your home and inside of your municipality. If that does, that means we will not be able to install a base cabinet in front of this electrical panel. We may only be able to bring the base cabinets up to the end if they do require a clear floor space in front of this electrical panel. So again, please do keep that in mind as you are looking at that and designing this area here. Now, as we do flip over to the other side, a couple of different things to note on this side is the homeowner may be getting a new washer and dryer unit. As you can see, these guys are a little bit older units. They are actually Kenmore units, still ticking. And we do have a model number. I'm not sure if you could see it up in there, but we do have that model number for that washer so we can have the overall height of the washing machine itself. The top height with the lid open is going to be just under 54 inches. But if you are looking at a new washer and especially a new top load washer, they tend to be taller as those doors tend to be bigger. So prior to purchasing your cabinetry, I would highly suggest go ahead and figuring out what the average height of the new washing machine that you would want to have is going to be. And let's go ahead and install the cabinets so that it accepts that height. That height may actually be 60 inches instead of the 54 inches, which will make a difference in the overall height of your cabinets on the wall. So again, if you have a new washing machine already in mind, please do share those model numbers so we can make sure that we have the height correct on them. If not, as a design note, please do look up a couple of average sizes for the washing machines as far as the overall height, and let's go ahead and adhere to that height instead of the height of this current washing machine. Now, with that being said, we do want a sink being installed inside of this location, which means we will need some plumbing work done over here inside of this location. We do have the guy gray box located right here, and you can see that also inside of this design. This is the guy gray box right here. So 39.25 inches center line from that wall right over there. And then we do have it centered from the finished floor to the center line is going to be this 37.75 inches. Now, on side of some of these drawings, as you can see, these are all going to be from the finished floor to the center line of each one of these items, with the height where the height is off the floor. So this one is 8.5 inches, which is that 220 outlet down there. And as you can see, we also have the dryer vent down there located right against the floor as well. So these are all obstructions that we do need to contend with or that we do need to take into account. So again, just to go over this wall, this guy will need to be shifted up to be a standard height of about 44 to 45 inches center line off the finished floor. We do have some plumbing work that will need to be done since we do plan on adding a sink inside of this area here. The flooring will need to be cut out, cannot go underneath the base cabinets. However, we should still keep the flooring about 60 inches from the wall so that we have the washer and dryer. As a note for the designer, 60 inches from this wall out will be reserved for the washer and dryer only. Please do not design any cabinetry to encroach into that 60-inch space. We may be able to take away up to 3 inches of that space, but I would not suggest taking away anything more than that. Your typical washer and dryer, usually we want to leave 30 inches since these guys are about 27 inches each. And we do want to also make sure that we're not snugging the washer and dryer against each other. As we all know, dryers love to walk around the laundry rooms, and we don't want to have any excess noise with the dryer bumping into that washing machine there. So again, Idea is going to be 60 inches of space against that from that wall to the end of that washer and dryer. Please do remember a 2-inch filler, so we may end up with 62 inches on that top line. And let's go ahead and line up the cabinetry with that base cabinet. So 62 inches of spacing over there because of that 2-inch filler to 30-inch cabinets. And then as far as the wall cabinets go, we do also want to make these wall cabinets 18 inches deep instead of your standard 12 inches deep. This will do two things. One is it gives you a little bit more storage inside of these wall cabinets, but two, as long as we make it 18 inches deep, then we get to hit an extra stud, which your studs in your walls are typically centered at 16 inches on center. So that means we'll be able to have an additional stud on the side, giving you additional support inside of the front of your cabinetry, as well as having just a little bit more depth so we can store all the items that we need to, the dryer sheets, the irons, etc., soaps inside of those cabinets with that additional support as well. So that is going to be something that we do suggest there. Now, as we do look at this wall here, obviously we have an outlet here that can stay as it is. That is the guy gray box. Again, that can stay where that is. This guy over here, we do have the 220 outlet as well. That can stay where that is, assuming that this dryer is going to be against this wall. We do also have the dryer vent, as you can see, is down inside of that corner. So again, as long as this dryer is against the wall, we are not planning on placing any cabinetry in front of this dryer vent or anywhere near this dryer vent. So we should be okay with that. Again, having 60 inches or 62 inches rather, because of that filler away from the wall, being planned as the end of this reserved space for the washer and dryer. We do have 3 switches right over here. Again, not going to be contending with any of our cabinetry, so that is perfectly fine and they can stay where they are. And then we are out to the exterior door to the backyard, and then we have these guys over here as well. So with that being said, that is everything I do have for you for the laundry room. Let's go ahead and pause and I'll head over to the kitchen here in just a second. All right, so we are now inside of the kitchen for this measure. This is going to be the overall plan and a general elevation of what we are looking at, along with some of the notes that we do have here. But let me go ahead and walk you through everything here in just a moment. So the first thing we do have is that we do have these existing cabinets right over here, as well as over here. Currently, we do not have any crown molding on top of these existing cabinets. We would like to add some stack molding on top of these existing cabinets. So you do have 10 and 7/8 of an inch. However, your ceiling is plus or minus a quarter of an inch as far as that overall height variance. Some of that quarter of an inch is actually just within this area here, this area being a little bit flatter, but there is a plus or minus 1/4 inch difference in the overall ceiling height. So that tightest point that I was able to measure, being from that corner up to the ceiling, is 10 and 7/8 of an inch, which is the point that we'll want to go ahead and use for all of these cabinets, because that will be the tightest area there. Now, with that being said, we do have a couple of things that I do want to point out. One is going to be this area right here. So that is a 1.5 inch wide backsplash portion, where the crown molding more than likely will end up being over that 1.5 inch wide backsplash portion, which means our installers or no further installers or an option for the installers may be to notch out 1.5 inches on site from the crown molding in order to install that crown molding flat against the walls. But again, please do check with our installers prior to promising that to see if that is actually going to be a possibility. The rest of the crown molding will just die into the tile, just as you see, just into the regular walls. It is only this 1.5 inch area, which does cause a little bit of concern there. Now, one other thing I'm going to point out on this side of the cabinetry is that we actually do have a little bit of a trim, almost like a 1/4 round that was cut down to a 1/2 round. I'll see if I can give you a little bit of that bottom view there, which is going to be this trim right here. So we do have that trim piece. However, that trim piece is only on this side. Now, as you can see up here, you can see that the shoulder for the backsplash tile actually borders that trim piece there, so we would not want to remove that trim piece. However, On all of the rest of the cabinets, as you can see, we do not have that trim piece there at all. So that is going to be one option, is that not to have any trim piece there and instead take that starter crown molding with a square edge so that we can make it flat against the edge of that trim piece and take care of that area there and make it look like it was originally built that way. That is one reason to go ahead and have that starter crown molding. So we may not need an additional scribe molding to go all the way up only on that one side, especially since we do have the Schluter on that side as well. Now, one other thing to note about this cabinetry over here is, again, we are looking at doing stacked cabinets for the crown. So please do remember to include a detailed drawing for the stacked cabinets and how you would like us to install the stacked cabinets or that stacked order. So that is going to be important for our installers so that they are able to see and know exactly the way that this crown molding is going to end up looking at the final product. So again, please do, if you can, create a detailed drawing of the top corner of the cabinets, as well as how you want that stacked crown molding to go ahead and fill up that 10 and 7/8 of an inch spacing that we have above both of these cabinets. Other than that, that is pretty much everything that we are having here. A little bit more drawing today, but and these cabinets are all going to be your standard 12-inch deep cabinets. So we can go ahead and count the crown molding 12 inches deep. These cabinets are 45 inches long. This one is going to be 45, 50, 60 inches long right here. So we will need the 12 inches, 60 inches, 12 inches, as well as another 12, 60, and 12 inches there. And each stick of crown is typically about 8 feet long. So you may need to order about at least 2 sticks of crown, but please do go ahead and double check my math. More than likely, you'll probably need at least 2 sticks of crown plus the touch-up kit, as well as the starter molding for both areas. I would suggest a 6-inch high starter molding or bigger, because we do have 10 inches to almost 11 inches, 10 and 7/8 of an inch spacing to go ahead and cover above both of these sets of cabinets there. Now, if you do have any questions, you can always contact me. My name is Cedric with Right Way Cabinets. My phone number is 847-651-7278. Thank you, and hope you have a blessed and splendid day.